Hey everybody, you are listening to The Poison Lab, a show about poisoning from people who manage poisoning. And I'm your host, clinical toxicologist and emergency medicine pharmacist Ryan. And if you are wondering, where is my next episode of The Poison Lab, I promise you they are coming. We have some really fun ideas in store, exploring fascinating topics with some very brilliant guests, and I'm so excited to bring you these episodes. But if you are craving right now the voice of someone talking about toxicology and for some reason you want it to be my voice, well, I might have something to offer. I recently had the great opportunity to do a radio show on our local public radio and to join another podcast. I cannot say enough good things about this podcast, EMS20. It's a podcast where two really experienced flight paramedics by the names of Chris Fingston and Spencer Oliver take a hindsight look at how a case was managed. They have anonymous EMS prehospital people submit cases, and they break down what went well and what didn't go well. And I got to sit in as an expert for a tox case called All the Small Pills, where somebody ingested about 6 bottles worth of medications. If you're going to listen to anything, absolutely check that episode out, and the link is in the show notes. It was so much fun, and those two are a great time and taught me a lot about the pre-hospital healthcare system and how to create great podcast audio. But before I play you that clip, I'm going to let you know about this radio show. I got to join Wisconsin Public Radio's Larry Meiller Show. This is sort of a mid-afternoon radio show, I think actually designed at giving advice to people. But I got to join as an expert to talk about all the new cannabanoids that are flooding into your local gas station or supermarket. It's actually a public call-in radio show, which is always fun. So I'll play you a clip here. It's only 7 minutes of the full 45-minute discussion, but largely it's me with an investigative journalist discussing what the landscape of the cannabinoid Delta 8, Delta 10 markets are, and it's more designed for lay people. But I think it's a fun conversation, so take a listen.
Delta 8 and other hemp-derived cannabis products can produce a high like marijuana. But because hemp is legal in Wisconsin, products made from it can be sold in stores. Larry Meiller here, and today on the show we're talking about why unregulated hemp-based psychoactive products are causing some concerns. I have a couple guests for you. With us, Dr. Ryan Feldman. Dr. Feldman, a professor at the Medical College of Wisconsin School of Pharmacy. He's seen patients, including many children, who have become sick from ingesting Delta 8. And Dr. Feldman, thank you for joining us as well.
Thanks for having me on the show, Larry.
As we talk with our guests, I hope you'll join in. Have you seen Delta 8 and other hemp products for sale in maybe a gas station or maybe a strip mall? Have you or someone you know tried them and had good or maybe bad experiences? Join in. Give us a call. The number is 800-642-1234. Or you could send us an email to ideas@wpr.org. Yeah, and you hear and see a lot of advertising relating to it. Well, let me turn to Dr. Feldman. I thought hemp had only trace amounts of THC. That's of course, the psychoactive compound in marijuana that gets people high. Is that the case?
So I think you're referring to Delta 9 THC, which is what we think of as the traditional THC that causes the intoxicating effects of marijuana. So the way you classify a plant as a marijuana plant or a hemp plant, it's the same plant. The difference is the amount of Delta 9 THC in it. So a marijuana plant has greater than 0.3% Delta 9 THC, and a hemp plant has less than that, but it can have any amount of other potentially psychoactive THC analogs like Delta 8 THC, and it can have tons of CBD in it, which can then be synthetically transformed because it's a legal product of the hemp plant due to the Farm Bill, can be chemically transformed into other THC products like we're seeing in the market today. Delta 8, THC acetate, THCP. So yes, the hemp plant has a low amount of Delta 9 THC, but it really doesn't speak for what else is in there.
And Delta 8 is You hear a lot about Delta 8, and you do hear about it in a lot of different products. Listening to an ad or a discussion, I guess it was on the way home from work one day when somebody was talking about not soft drink, but a drink being bottled.
I can walk right down the street. About 4 blocks from my house, there is a bar that sells a Delta 8 THC beverage. So it's really pretty much everywhere at this point. And the marketing is definitely, they're putting it out in front of the faces of consumers, it appears.
And Dr. Feldman, you've seen patients at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin who have ingested these products.
Oh, yeah. So one of my roles is actually as a clinical toxicologist with the Wisconsin Poison Center. So I get called about anybody who gets into anything, toothpastes all the way to medications, and certainly gummies that are filled with psychoactive substances wind up on that list. And what's interesting about the Farm Bill is it essentially unleashed, or at least these new products, suddenly the entire nation seems to have access to edible psychoactives that are in the form of candy, but there hasn't been a lot of coaching on how and where to store them to keep them out of the hands and mouths of children and pets. It's kind of funny. This is similar to years ago. There was candied aspirin was out there.
Oh.
And as you can imagine, it's probably not a good idea to make a drug in the form of a candy because kids get into it. And about 3 years after candied aspirin came out, preschool aged children were responsible for, or were about 80% of the aspirin related fatalities. So it's no secret that if you make things look like a candy, a child will get into it. So we certainly have seen a lot of what we call exploratory ingestions, where kids under 6, they see something that looks like candy and they take it. You know, I have a picture from my Poison Center manager of a Baker's chocolate bar. It says Wisconsin Baker's Bar, and it contains 2,500 milligrams of Delta 8 THC in the chocolate bar. And that's about 100 times the normal dose that someone would take. Oh. And I don't know about you, but most people don't eat 1/100th of a chocolate bar. You can get in high doses pretty quickly. If a kid takes that, the severity of symptoms that we can see are pretty profound. They can be sedated, unable to walk appropriately. There's even some concerns about, how well they're breathing sometimes. And those symptoms can be pretty scary in a child if you don't know why it happened.
And we're going to talk some more about that. And I hope you'll join in with your own questions or comments and maybe your own experiences if you've had them with these products. We'll be back right after this look at the news. Stay with us. A number of callers online. Let's Dennis in Two Rivers. We'll go to you. Hi, Dennis.
Hi, Larry. Something some people may try to escape from their external problems is something that'll get them high, but they don't think ahead. If they overdose on something, then it's internal and there is no escape.
Yeah, you're right about that. And as far as the children, I think now we lost him. Dr. Feldman, you want to comment on that?
I do, because this is an important thing for people to know. I want to bring up the Poison Center as a resource here in overdose. So if you think your child has been exposed, or if you think you took a substance and you're not enjoying the effects that are happening from it, you can call the Poison Center, 1-800-222-1222. It is a free public access line staffed by trained toxicology medical professionals, trained spies, nurses, physicians. Spies are specialists in poison information. Sorry, not espionage. But we can give medical advice and help people through discern if someone needs to go to emergency department. So we're a free resource, and I'd really recommend.
And let's give that number again, because probably somebody said, "Oh, I didn't get what was that?"
All right, yeah, that's 1-800-222-1222. Okay, that's probably all the clips I could steal before they hit me with a copyright infringement. But if you want to hear more public call-ins with interesting insights and more of myself and the guest, John Dietrich, an investigative journalist, breaking down the current market of Delta 8 and Delta 10 and all of the things that are coming with that, check out the show notes for the link to the Larry Meiller Show. Okay, now I'm going to play you some clips from when I got to join the EMS 2020 podcast. And I already said it once, I'll say it again. These two are hilarious. They are really fun to work with, and they are really great, skilled flight paramedics. I had a lot of fun talking with them, getting to share my knowledge, and getting some insights into their world. Here is just 3.5 minutes of our nearly 2-hour episode. That was so much fun. So take a listen.
This is Toxicology Chancellor Ryan Feldman.
You could say whatever you want.
We found a guy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So with that, we normally open with a little bit of banter, but with guests, it's a little bit different.
Do you think I can't banter? Is that?
Oh, no. I just I don't want to put you on the banter spotlight. I think this is actually almost a good start. To our listeners, you might have recognized there's a third voice in there, and that is Dr. Ryan Feldman. He is a clinical toxicologist, and also he also has a podcast, I believe. Isn't that correct?
That would be right. The Poison Lab.
The Poison Lab. And Spencer and I, we don't listen to a lot of other podcasts, which is odd because we have one. But we do listen to the Poison Lab, and Spencer had this great idea because we had a call that came in that was absolutely right up the Poison Lab's alley. And so Spence had this great idea, contacted Dr. Feldman, and you are a clinical toxicologist. And you have decided to come on our show for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I decided because your audio is so crisp, I need to learn from you two what you're doing. It really, I was like, I think I'm doing an okay job. And then I listened to one of your episodes. I was like, wow. I'm an amateur. This is good stuff.
Oh man! Well,
don't give it away until after the show, Chris.
Gotcha. I gotta leave the carrot. Speaking of the show, we'll start the show. Yeah, with that, everybody, welcome to another episode of EMS 2020. On our podcast, we review real out-of-hospital calls that are submitted by you.
As long as it's not sponsored by dying from poisoning. That
gotcha.
I don't need that. I won't have to do a
it's actually sponsored by HRD, which is kind of the same. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, with that, we have our guest on today. And Spencer, what do you have for our esteemed guest and myself?
All right. Well, this is a fun case, and I'm excited to learn all about this. I mean, teach you guys based on my extensive YouTubing. All right. Well, let's bring you the call. This call was submitted to us by Thomas Roses by the Stairs, D. Roses is a paramedic with 12 years of experience. They are working on a medic unit with Mark. Surprises let me know she cares.
I am nowhere on this theme.
Yeah. The best part of doing this over Zoom is I get to see your face and just the confusion, and it brings me such joy.
Oh, you don't know the theme ahead of time?
No, I don't. That's and Spencer takes great joy.
You got to focus on all the small things that he's saying.
You get the theme and I don't.
Yeah.
I'm the last one to know. Is this the Blink-182 reference? All the small things?
Well, let's find out. Right. So Roses and Surprises are at their station, just about to have dinner, when a call drops just on the other side of their service area's border. This call is for a 50s female polypharma overdose. The patient is reported to have an altered mental status, which mandates an ALS response. Police are also en route to secure the scene for EMS. So I imagine these guys are sitting there like, say it ain't so. I will not go. Yeah, turn the stove off. The curry will burn. Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it there. We break down this entire case, all the different medications the person took, what each one of them can do, the pre-hospital considerations. We cover a ton of different topics. I learn a lot about the widely different EMS systems, and we talk about things like who should transport overdoses, ALS or BLS. What if you don't have ALS available? We talk about pre-hospital activated charcoal, all of the different drugs this person took and their mechanisms, as well as possible treatments and interactions, as well as things like pre-hospital naloxone and how to keep up with the evolving drug markets. I had so much fun, and the entire episode is largely us just making jokes, but there's a lot of good content in there as well. So go to the show notes, click the link, and follow it to the EMS 2020 show. You can listen anywhere you listen to podcasts, and honestly, they have hundreds of other great episodes as well. So really, I would just subscribe, because it's a really fun show. Okay, hopefully, if you're craving a Poison Lab episode and I don't happen to get it out on time, this will satisfy your cravings for now.
Hi folks, Toxo here. Ryan wanted me to mention there'll also be a bonus episode highlighting some past episodes of Toxicologist versus the Internet, coming out in the near future as well. The script says I should mention to listen in for that episode to be released. So be sure to keep your tiny, inefficient human ears operational until that time.
I really appreciate you tuning in and being part of our listening community. You are what makes this show so much fun for myself and all the others who participate in each episode. Don't forget, if you like what you're listening to, you can always follow the show on social media at Lab Poison on Twitter, at EMPoisonFarmD is myself. We have an Instagram, Tox_Talk, and a Facebook page, The Poison Lab. And you can reach out to the show anytime you want at ToxTalk1, that's TOXTALK1, at gmail.com. And if you do happen to like what you're listening to and find some of this educational, valuable, or even applicable in the clinical realm, feel free to leave a review. It helps us reach other listeners who are interested in learning about toxicology. Okay, that'll do it for now. Hope we can catch you at the next episode. Hey Toxo, can you play us out?
The information on this show is for educational purposes only and should not be interpreted as medical advice or treatment recommendations. Contact your doctor for health questions or call your local poison center at 1-800-222-1222. The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of our employers. This show is poorly written and shoddily produced by Ryan Feldman. Don't forget to give it a share with your nerdy friends. Cheerio mates. See you next time.